Hi there, good morning to you. You're welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne TV. I am Mohammed. Coming up within the hour, President GHOne Mohammed tasked 12-member Presidential Advisory Group to conduct periodic assessment of Ghana's economic performance to advance economic development. Also coming up, cabinet meeting on cocoa sector crisis ongoing as farmers demand immediate payment of purchases since November 2025. We'll do some politics as well. Jamal files nomination to contest Ayawaso East after being cleared by the NDC's Functional Executive Committee to contest. On education, the Ghana Education Service condemns violent sexual misconduct reported at the just-ended Superzonal Sports Competition in the Eastern region. We have details of these and many other stories all within the hour. Stay with me. Hello again. Once again, I am Mohammed. President GHOne Mohammed has tasked the inaugurated 12-member Presidential Advisory Group to conduct periodic assessment of Ghana's economic performance after policy recommendations and contribute expert input to engagements with bilateral and multilateral development partners. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony at the Jubilee House in Accra, President Mohammed urged members of the group to avoid complacency and remain proactive in addressing the country's economic challenges. He expressed confidence in the expertise and experience of the 12-member team, stating that their diverse backgrounds in economics, finance, academia, and industry would strengthen Ghana's engagement with international partners and support ongoing reform efforts.
The mandate of PAGE, as outlined in your letters of appointment and accompanying public release, is both clear and consequential. You're expected to provide strategic counsel on macroeconomic management, fiscal consolidation, debt sustainability, and the coherence between fiscal and monetary policy. You are to advise on structural transformation, industrial development, competitiveness, and export-led growth strategies. PAGE is also charged with offering guidance on sectoral development, private sector expansion, investment mobilization, and sustainable job creation, while supporting the design and implementation of flagship national initiatives, including the 24-hour economy, the Accelerated Export Development Program, and other productivity-enhancing reforms. In addition, you are to conduct periodic assessments of Ghana's economic performance, propose policy adjustments where necessary, and contribute expert input to Ghana's economic negotiations and engagement with bilateral and multilateral partners, international financial institutions, and investors. Importantly, PAGE shall report directly to the President, submitting advisory memoranda, briefs, and strategic reviews, as and when required. Your counsel is therefore expected to be frank, independent, evidence-based, and anchored in the long-term national interest. PAGE is not new to our governance architecture. It existed under the late President, Professor John Evans Atta-Mills, and also during my earlier tenure in office. And it returns today expanded and strengthened to reflect the evolving complexity of our economy.
The Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has reiterated that the Presidential Advisory Group was established to provide rigorous and independent advice to government in support of the country's economic reset agenda. She made this remark in an appreciation speech at the inauguration of the Presidential Advisory Group earlier this morning, underscoring the administration's commitment to informed policy direction as efforts intensify to stabilize and reposition the economy.
Our mandate is clear and demanding to provide independent, rigorous, and practical advice to support government. We complement existing institutions by offering insight, testing assumptions, and proposing solutions informed by global best practice and grounded in Ghana's realities. Our commitment is to move from crisis management to durable success. We will foster dialogue, intellectual honesty, and collective responsibility, engage across sectors, and deliver actionable advice aligned with Ghana's long-term development vision. Your Excellency, this advisory group comprises professionals of different backgrounds, perspectives, and experience across diverse disciplines. As a lifelong teacher myself, I would like to respectfully leave my esteemed colleagues and myself with our first piece of homework. That is, for us to constantly reflect on what the term the economy should mean to our fellow citizens.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Andiabi, arrives at the presidency for an emergency cabinet session today at the behest of the president over challenges in the cocoa sector. The meeting will focus on how to tackle the challenges facing the sector as cocoa farmers demand immediate payment of purchases since November 2025 and those who are yet to have their produce bought. Let's go to the presidency and engage our presidential affairs correspondent Abdul Hanan Adam for the latest on this. Earlier, we're showing you that Dr. Andiabi had arrived at the Jubilee House. Hanan, what more can you share with us at this time? And then if you can also update us on the Presidential Advisory Board as well.
Presidential Advisory Group, which was inaugurated earlier before the cabinet meeting, the crowned cabinet meeting that is currently ongoing up there at the fourth floor, where the president is currently chairing that particular emergency meeting, together with the majority leader, Mohammed, who is representing the majority caucus in parliament in that crunch meeting. And we also have senior government officials who are also in the meeting, and also some ministers of state. I've seen the sector minister, the finance minister, together with the governor of the Bank of Ghana, also making their way up there to be part of that important meeting. So the meeting is currently ongoing. We are expecting the government spokesperson or presidential spokesperson, Felix Kwachu Fosu, to address us immediately after the meeting is held. So Lily, what the meeting is all about is that cocoa farmers are demanding immediate payment since November after the Ghana Cocoa Board purchased their produce, but unfortunately have since not received payments for their supplies to the government. Also, some other farmers, we understand that have had their produce ready, but unfortunately, since November till date, their produce have not been bought yet by the government. So they are also putting pressure on the Cocoa Board to ensure that this produce that they've made ready since November 2025 is cleared for them to have way to go back into the farm to grow more crops. They say also there's a need for government to immediately address these concerns, in essence, to curb the issue of smuggling, because already we understand that somewhere in the Bono region and somewhere in the western region, we understand that smuggling is ongoing through unapproved means. We all know that we have porous borders, and these farmers, including agency like AGI, who are currently here but are not participating in that particular meeting, are also saying that there's the need for government to urgently address these issues so that we are able to meet our targets for the 2025-2026 crop year, and then be able to advance it further for the 2026 and 2027 economic or fiscal year. So basically, this is what is happening at the moment, Lily, and the president is very much interested in this, and as well as the reason why the governor of the Bank of Ghana and the finance minister, Dr. Kessler Tuforsen, are present in this particular meeting to ensure that recommendations or discussions that will come up from this meeting would immediately affect the cocoa sector to ensure that we don't have a decline, given the target the government has set for itself in the 2025 and 2026 crop year. Over to you, Lily.
Right, Hanan, quickly, if you can run us through who these members of the 12-member advisory group are, and when are they starting? How soon are timelines given them?
Well, Lily, the 12-member advisory group include the Vice President, Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who also have the former governor of the Bank of Ghana, and then who also served as finance minister under the John Evans Atta Mills era. That is Dr. Kobna Dufour. We also have Kwame Pinim, who is also a private sector lead, part of it. He served previously under the John Kufuor administration and a member of the Page Group. Also have Togbe Afede, who is a traditional ruler. We all know how impactful he has been in the economy of Ghana, a businessman for that matter. Also have Dr. Ishmael Yamson, who is also a private sector lead and economist as well, also member of this particular group. We also have the likes of a former deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, who is also part of this group. We also have other senior government officials who had served before under the previous John Evans Atta Mills administration, and of course under the first John Mahama administration. Well, the timeline is basically simple, Lily. They are expected to meet every quarter until 2029, and they are also supposed to provide independent and evidence-based policy direction to the president. They are also expected to coordinate or collaborate with the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, and also some senior government officials here, the likes of Seth Tekpe. They are supposed to meet with him. Joyce Bawa Mukhtar is part of those they are supposed to meet. The secretary to the president, Dr. Callistus Mahama, is part of that group. So the chief of staff, Julius Debra, is also part of that group that the Page, together with NDPC and the senior government officials, are expected to meet once in a time to have deliberations about policy direction. The microeconomic situation of Ghana is of paramount to the president. So he says that part of their mandate is to look at that sector. 24-hour economy is on the front burner for the group. We also have the accelerated export development program. Of course, the government is hard on ensuring that we add value to our produce, especially cocoa. We also add value to gold, manganese, and other exportable products that we produce in the country. The president says that the time has come for us to add value and not necessarily export raw materials to the international market. So this group is expected to focus on this area. Of course, fiscal discipline is one of the priority areas that they must also look at. Debt sustainability is another area that the president has hammered on for the Page to look out for and advise independently. So the president also says that in as much as they are supposed to meet every quarter, but there are cases that their services will be required in an emergency situation like we have today, where we are discussing the cocoa sector. So the president says that He appreciates their experience, he appreciates their independence, and he would appreciate if they put all these experiences and independence together to support his administration to deliver the reset agenda, Lily.
Thank you very much. That's Abdul Hanan Adam. He's our presidential affairs correspondent. Now let's touch on education. The Ghana Education Service has condemned the violent sexual misconduct reported at the just-ended Superzonal sports competition in the Eastern region. The co-curricular school event, which took place between February 4 to February 6, was disrupted by a stabbing incident and an alleged gang rape involving students. A student of the Koforidua Senior High Technical School was stabbed near the competition venue, with students of New Drabin Senior High School allegedly involved. Also in a separate incident, a female student of the Osino Senior High School was allegedly raped. 2 suspects are in police custody, while a 3rd suspect is on the run. Meanwhile, both victims have received medical care, with the female student also receiving counseling and psychological support. The GES, however, says sanctions will be applied in line with its code of conduct and is urgent calm as police investigations continue. Now, Dr. Peter Pate Anti is an educationist and he joins me via Zoom. Doc, thank you very much. All right, he joins me via phone. Doc, thank you very much for joining us. Good morning to you. Well, I don't know whether to say it's a good morning, but this is quite unfortunate.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is an unfortunate incident, and I think that it is something that all relevant stakeholders should condemn forcefully, because these students are going to be the future of the country. And if they have an opportunity to undertake any extracurricular activity, they should not get themselves involved in these criminal acts, which we think that should be handled as such.
What does this say holistically about our discipline and supervision system in schools?
Well, the first is what I think we have to agree on is the fact that it is a criminal act and should be handled as such. We have had serious challenges with the discipline issues in our educational system. People have linked it to the duration that we are dealing with. People have also linked it to some of the incidents that have happened over the years in terms of how relaxed the educational system has been. And because of that, students think that they can do anything and then get away with it. I think that first and foremost, when students are going for extracurricular activities, there should be ways and means to monitor their movement and ensure that they are within the confines of wherever it is that they are supposed to be. We know that this is a difficult call for the teachers, especially where you have a lot more students and taking part in the activity. But I think that it's important that schools and school authorities allow a lot more teachers to join these students as they go out for any of these activities. Yes, I understand that some of the students are very difficult, and it becomes very difficult to contain them once you leave them out of the school compound. But I think that there should be mechanisms in place for school authorities, because these kids are under your care. So if you know you will not be able to provide the needed monitoring and supervision as you are asking them to go out, which is part of the school activities, you need to ensure that you send a number that you will be able to manage. So in that perspective, we think that the schools need to improve on their monitoring and supervision anytime that the students are going out for these activities.
All right, thank you very much. That's Dr. Peter Pate Anti. He is an educationist. Now, the Supreme Court has, by a unanimous decision of 5, ordered the Attorney General to produce for private inspection by lawyers of Democracy Hub the agreement entered into by Ghana with the U.S. over the deportation of West African nationals. This follows a ruling on an application for discovery in a matter in which Democracy Hub is challenging the constitutionality of the agreement. The panel, chaired by Justice Gabriel Pamang, with Justices Enes Gaiwu, Richard J. Frimpong, Senyo Jamefe, and Hafisata Malibebwa, Amale Boba said the documents should only be inspected by lawyers for the plaintiffs. Let's find out more from our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa. Captain, thank you very much for joining us once again. What more can you share with regards to this particular issue?
Well, Lily, when you come to the Supreme Court in relation to this very matter, there are three branches. The substantive matter, which is invoking the Supreme Court powers to look into that particular deal to find out whether it is constitutional or not. That is the substantive matter that is pending. Then there is also another leg of an interlocutory injunction to stop the government from deporting such persons when they are being remitted to Ghana. Then the third leg has to do with an application for discovery, where they are to find out whether there is an existence of such an agreement, because when they filed this particular rate at the Supreme Court, one thing that came to the fore was that the applicant relied on media report and all of that. So then, before the matter to be dealt with and dealt with in a manner that is much more acceptable, then there should be a discovery by way of finding out whether this document existed. Now, remember that at some point in time, the Attorney General agreed to voluntarily release the document by showing it to the justices of the Supreme Court, the judges who are dealing with the matter in question. They came to court with the document. Deputy Attorney General Dr. Jesus Stromsai came in, entered into chambers with the judges. The judges looked at it, then adjourned the matter for a ruling after asking few questions about the document. Today, the 5-member panel presided over by Justice Gabriel Kwaman have made an order, and that order is to the effect that that document that they peruse in chambers, they have agreed unanimously that it be produced for inspection by lawyers of Democracy Hub in the matter. And one of the reasons they are giving is to the effect that the content of this particular document that we are talking about is already in the media domain. So for the court to have a proper appreciation of argument from all the parties involved, the parties, especially Democracy Hub, should be allowed. The AG, the state, should make it available for them to inspect, have a view. Of course, the court spoke about the fact that it has to be protected from it going public. They have to look at it and help the court by way of their submission that they will make in all of that. The court has also made the order that a copy be furnished to the president of the court so that it will help them in their use as they deal with the substantive matter. So in all, that particular agreement that Ghana has with USA concerning the deportation of West African nationals, the Supreme Court is saying that it should be made available for only the perusal of lawyers of Democracy Hub in the matter.
Right. Thank you very much, Captain. Anything that you're monitoring with regards to the National Signal Bureau's case?
So this morning, I didn't indicate to you that that particular case will be up, and when it comes out, there's a second prosecution witness, Ruby Edith Adumwa, will face further cross-examination from lawyers of Kwabena Edubuahe and the wife. Rightly so, the matter was called before Justice Eugene Yadunyante. Unfortunately, the court was informed that the witness is not well, and so proceedings could not happen. She didn't show up in court because of ill health, and for that matter, the court has since adjourned the matter tomorrow. But Lily, by way of talking about this case, one thing that the court also made clear by way of ground rules is to the effect that due to the following the introduction of the specialized court session, the normal court session will begin from 8:30 and by 12:30 to end. Then the special court sitting will begin after around 1:30. So that is one thing that the judge brought to the attention of the parties so that they'll keep on time in relation to the matters before the court. The SkyTrain matter is currently ongoing. Our subsequent bulletin will bring you more updates on that.
Right. Captain, thank you very much. That's Mutala Inusa. He is our legal affairs correspondent. Let's do some politics now. The Functional Executive Committee of the National Democratic Congress has cleared Baba Jamal to contest the March 3 Ayawasu East by-election on the party's ticket. This was disclosed by the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kweti, following the submission of the report on investigation into alleged vote buying during the party's parliamentary primary on February 7. Speaking to journalists after receiving the report, Mr. Kweti said said the committee could not annul the primary because the NDC constitution contains no provision allowing annulment of primaries. He also cited time constraints and meeting deadline for filing of nominations by the Electoral Commission as the reason why Baba Jamal has to be presented.
Let me just say that the long and short of the report was this, that inappropriate conduct was exhibited by virtually almost all the candidates, even though you cannot establish, because the candidates were clear that what they did was in light of motivating of a delegate. We believe that was inappropriate. So in the light of that, the committee's report was to the effect that ideally we should have an annulment of the primaries. However, the committee also acknowledged that there are real obstacles that make it difficult for us to do that. One, the party's constitution does not have a provision for an annulment of election. Two, we are time bound because we need to be presenting a candidate by tomorrow to the Electoral Commission. So given these difficulties, and also there are legal challenges that could be mounted by whoever won, and the party clearly will not be able to go through any of that process without presenting a candidate very quickly. So in the light of that, the party effectively has taken the recommendation, which is that we, given the time and also the legal challenges, we have no option but to present Baba Jamal, who actually won according to the Electoral Commission declaration.
Well, we're told that Baba Jamal has filed his nomination, and my colleague Obed King-Aglo has joined me on phone with details of that. Obed, what can you share with us at this time? We know that he has successfully filed, right?
Yes, exactly so. So currently here at the regional office of the Electoral Commission, Baba Jamal has filed his nomination to contest for the Ayawasu East parliamentary by-election on the ticket of the NDC. We are all aware that earlier the NDC Functional Executive Committee constituted a body to investigate the alleged buying claims. But yesterday, the party came out and cleared him to contest the election. So currently, it's pomp and pageantry, fanfare over here, where supporters of Baba Jamal have trooped here at the Electoral Commission regional headquarters to support him. We are also aware that currently there is an IPAC meeting going on between the various political parties, that's the NDC, NPP, and also the independent candidate who was also filed to contest the Ayawasu East by-election. So really, that's the atmosphere here at the regional office of the Electoral Commission, where Baba Jamal has successfully filed to contest the Ayawasu East by-election.
Right. I'm sure you cited Baba Jamal. Was he elated? What was his posturing?
His demeanor has been one of excitement because we all know that we're all sitting in tentacles because the majority had earlier called for an annulment of that election. And so Baba Jamal is a happy man today, having successfully filed his nomination to contest on the ticket of the NDC for the Ayawasu East constituency, because he mentioned that he contested twice already. He contested a former member of parliament who is late now and lost. And so for him, this is a dream come true to represent the NDC for the Ayawasu East constituency.
All right, thank you very much. That's Obed King-Aglo. He's our reporter on ground as he monitors the filing of nomination at the Electoral Commission headquarters by Baba Jamal, who was last night cleared by the Functional Executive Committee of the NDC to contest on the ticket of the party in the IRC East by-election. This by-election was necessitated as a result of the death of the the Member of Parliament for the area, Nasir Ture. Let's find out what your thoughts are on this on social media, and Nanama Akwa joins me with those comments. Nanama, what are people saying?
Well, Lily, at the beginning of the week, we said this is going to get interesting, and indeed, it has. We'll start with Facebook. Daniel says, egg and pepper any day. Shame on the jealous majority caucus. We also have here, Bejo, some issues are home matter. The lizard cannot spread the secrets of the alligator. Or am I shouting too much? Explain. So Rich Man says, but did they have a choice? We also have Charles Beidou. Investigative committee indeed. Good job done. Keep it up. We also have John. This is what we are waiting for, and the effects will come in 2028. We have Johnson Yao. They have taken their share. Okay. Samuel Appiah says settings committee just wasted their time and energy. We also have Michael Larby. They're afraid he will expose them. He said it. Upon all the press releases, there is a skeleton in the closet. Then we also have Najat. That investigation was just a camouflage because people were talking. Let he who is without sin be the first to cast the stone. Benjamin says everything was a charade. And we have here Stephen. No one can stop him. Everyone has dubious means to win elections. He would have taken those people on, maybe as a lawyer. Then Derek said, I said it from day one. The NDC just wants to throw dust in our eyes, making us think they're serious about fighting vote buying and corruption. Kojo says it's very bad behavior. Money and political campaign is getting too much. Both NDC and MPP are guilty of that. And that is what we have time for. My name is Nanama Aqua. Continue to send us your messages on Instagram, Facebook, and on X. Let's see what happens moving forward. Lily, back over to you.
Thank you, Nana. Moving on, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumana Grabbing, has directed the Business Committee of Parliament to schedule the relay of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, popularly known as the Anti-Gay Bill, to be relayed in Parliament for consideration. The bill, which was passed by Parliament in 2024 but did not receive presidential assent, has been reintroduced by some MPs for reconsideration. Although President Mahama has indicated his willingness to sign the bill, which is presented to him, it has yet to be formally laid before Parliament again, following several unsuccessful attempts. In formal communique to the House a while ago, in formal communique to the House yesterday, the Speaker directed the Business Committee to schedule the bill for consideration. According to him, the current bill is sponsored by 9 members of Parliament, led by Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Neti George.
Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 was initially introduced as the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2021 in August 2021. The bill went through all the enactment processes and was passed by the 8th Parliament on the 28th of February 2024. It was, however, not assented to by the President and therefore lapsed upon the dissolution of the 8th Parliament. By correspondence dated 25 February 2025, the following members indicated their desire to reintroduce the bill. Honourable members, I have reviewed the report of the committee and formed the opinion that the bill does not impose the Constitution. The bill has gone through all the processes in accordance with the standing orders of the House. I therefore direct that the bill be scheduled by the Business Committee to be presented to the House for consideration.
In other news, angry residents of Salamba in the northern region have stormed the offices of the Ghana Water Limited, demanding immediate action over a prolonged water shortage in the area. Straight to say they have endured months of dry times, forcing families to trek long distances in search of water. They describe the situation as unbearable, warning that the hardship is deepening as Ramadan approaches and temperatures continue to rise.
Residents of Salamba in the Tamale metropolis are up in arms over the worsening water crisis in the area. They said they have not had water for the past 2 years. The residents said the situation is getting desperate, especially with Ramadan around the corner. Protesters said life is a struggle each day and want the Ghana Water Limited to act now. They also allege that staff of the Ghana Water Limited own water tankers and selling water to people, reasons they keep locking the taps.
We are not able to get intimate with our husbands due to the water crisis. Our children no longer go to school. Water does not flow from our taps, but they sell water from their tankers. We are all human beings and this is not fair. For several months now, we cannot remember the last time we got water from our taps.
They said they would react, but we will come back if they don't. For years, they have not given us water, but they come to read our meters and serve us bills. They should not do that again if we won't get water.
The Ghana Water Limited at the time of this report were in a clutch meeting. According to the public relations officer, the Ghana Water Limited regional team led by the chief manager Stephen Amihie Mensah has formed a committee to visit Salamba tomorrow to assess the situation. He has been speaking to GHOne News.
What came to Salamba has been a problem for Ghana Water. The reason is the quantity of water we produce from dam. You will agree with me that now most people in Tamale are moving towards the Bugu area. It's just because of the water. So you see that as the years go by, more people will move towards where there's water. So when the water is even being rationed, and you are at the tail end of the distribution system, the people who are upstream will draw. That's why it's very important that we make people using inline pumps in their houses. When they will draw the water, if they draw all the water from the system, it will be very difficult for the water to reach high areas like Tishugu and Salamba. Like I explained, you get to know that most of the parts that are not getting water are the high areas. Last week, we were able to supply Kapohini in this environment. Why not Salamba and Tishugu? So we shall go on the ground. I know one another will say that there was a valve that had been buried by road construction. So we have formed a team to go to site with them, walk the lines. After such allegations, it has been there. In fact, I have been alleged to be owing water tankers that I sell water because of this allegation and some others. But MD had to blank all the hydrants in the country, in particular Tamale. The same people had to go a petition and beg the MD to restore it.
Now, violence has erupted on the waters of Lake Volta in the Oti region following a long-running dispute over fishing practices. Several people sustained cutlass injuries after clashes between Ewe and Zabarama fishing communities in Kranchi East. The incident has renewed concerns about safety, regulation and peaceful coexistence among fishing communities along the Volta Lake.
Several people have been injured following violent clashes between the Ewe community of Nyakonakwe and Zabrama fishermen in the Kranchi East municipality of the Oti region. 6 injured persons have so far reported the incident to the police and are receiving treatment at the Tokranu Health Center. The Ewe community accuses the Zabrama fishermen of using fishing hooks on the lake, a practice they say damages nets and poses serious safety risks to swimmers and other fishermen. A resident, Pastor Matthew Milanyakpo, says the use of hooks has been a long-standing concern, warning that it increases the risk of entanglement, injuries and possible drowning.
They ignored repeated appeals to help resolve the issue. On 3 occasions, people nearly drowned after becoming entangled in the fishing hooks, which prompted us to approach them for amicable settlement. Instead, they refused dialogue and attacked us with machetes and other weapons. Several victims are currently receiving treatment in the hospital for injuries sustained during the incident.
But the Zabrama community has rejected the accusations. A spokesperson, Mohammed Hassan, says his people have instead been victims of repeated attacks.
It is not true that this conflict erupted because of our livelihood. Those people have always hated and harassed us. From morning till evening, they would besiege our community, sometimes beating children even on their way to school. We could no longer endure these excuses, which is why we reacted today.
The assembly member for the area, Anthony Zojanu, has confirmed the incident, saying he has engaged leaders of both communities to restore calm. He disclosed that while the Zamrama fishermen have authorization from the Biakuya district to operate, the clashes occurred because they were fishing within the Karachi East municipality outside the scope of their permit. Zojanu has therefore advised the fishermen to confine their activities to the Biakuya district to avoid further conflict. Meanwhile, calm has returned to the area as traditional leaders, local authorities, and security agencies step up efforts to prevent renewed violence on Lake Volta.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In business news this afternoon, the Board of Airline Representatives, Ghana, and the International Air Transport Association are urging the government to reconsider the $100 airport infrastructure development charge on airfares for international flights. The levy, which takes effect on April 1, is intended to generate revenue to complete an ultra-modern upgrade of the Kotoka International Airport, build a new airport in Bolgatanga, and rehabilitate Sunyani Airport. Speaking at the 5th Aviation Ghana breakfast meeting in Accra, the Board of Airline Representatives warned that the charges could inspire airport hopping, where travelers use airport from neighboring countries to avoid expensive travel. Eko Boache reports.
Passengers using Best 2026 will have to pay $100 for international round-trip tickets. The fee, known as the Airport Infrastructure Development Charge, AIDC, when effected, will take Ghana to the top 10 most expensive airports. The AIDC could pose a potential threat to Ghana's desire to be the aviation hub of West Africa. Board of Airline Representatives Ghana say the expensive ticket prices could lure travelers to patronize other airports in neighboring countries.
We are proposing that the government, together with Ghana Airports, will review the charge downwards, and they could probably consider they could consider a charge for drop-off for commercial vehicles and private vehicles at the airport. And this can easily be done by imposing a charge of 50 Ghana cedis, and then the collection can be up to midnight of the day that the collection have been done. Then this way they spread the cost not only to the airlines but also to members of public that are visiting the airport. So that's our proposal.
Managing Director for the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Mrs. GHOne Nana Ifriye Opare, highlighted that the charge has a termination clause in 10 years and is aimed at funding Ghana's airport upgrades with a concourse connecting Kotoka's Terminal 2 and 3 and a state-of-the-art upgrade to Terminal 2, expansion of Sunyani Airport, and a construction of an airport in Bolgatanga.
To make Ghana an attractive destination where travelers will want to come through. So not only are they stopping here, but transiting through the country. When you look at places like Addis Ababa, it's a transit hub. So a lot of connections going out of Ethiopia to everywhere in the world. And so if we want to make Ghana a hub, in the African region. We have to open up our connectivity.
The matter raised at Aviation Ghana's fifth breakfast meeting saw key players in the industry convene to chart the country's aviation future. Convener of the forum, Dr. Dominic Andor, revealed plans to bring an aviation maintenance, repair and overhaul, an MRO event in Ghana come December, a first of its kind in Africa.
The first of its kind. We want to have an MRO event. Yes, we hear Dubai Air Show, we hear air shows in Nigeria, but we haven't had an MRO, maintenance repair event of a sort in West Africa and Africa generally. So we are talking to our partners, GHOne, Airbus, and some other people from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, so that we have the first of its kind MRO event here at the 3M Cells hangar in Accra.
Also at the forum, President of the Travel and Tour Agents, Frank Enin Bonsu, commended the government's plans to introduce a national flag carrier.
Ghana Waste was around. We used to do a lot of tourists, bringing tourists from the US and the European market because they were flying to Düsseldorf and to New York, and that made us be able to quote cheaper fares because when there is a national carrier, most pricing is done domestically. It's not coming from outside, so there's nothing to do with the foreign exchange. Everything is the CD generated.
The Aviation Breakfast Meeting is an annual event where senior government officials, airline executives, regulators, and international aviation bodies convene. This year's meeting was themed Advancing Ghana's Aviation Sector, Policy, Connectivity, and Sustainable Growth.
Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is demanding the immediate suspension of the task force formed by the Ghana Revenue Authority, urging for meaningful engagement to find a lasting solution to the issues at hand. Addressing the media, the president of the association, Clement Boateng, called on authorities to prioritize dialogue over enforcement. He also urged members of the union to remain firm if the task force attempts to impose the tax on them.
Law must be part of the solution. Their involvement is crucial in finding a fair and effective system that supports Ghana's development rather than burdening traders and consumers with this obnoxious tax. We demand that GRA halt the task force that they have formed and engage in meaningful talks to address implementation challenges because we don't want to have any confrontation with the task force. We are prepared to face them squarely. We call on the government to intervene and ensure GRA works collaboratively with traders to achieve a fair and effective tax system. We urge the government to act urgently, protecting traders and promoting compliance and fostering Ghana's development. We believe our concerns will receive the utmost attention that it deserves, and we look forward to a constructive dialogue with the authorities.
And that's it for the business brief. Up next is the latest update in sports with Benjamin Yamwa Benghazi.
The business brief.
And you're welcome to sports, beginning with some good news for Ghana footballers. Fatau Chahaku the English Championship last night, although his team ended up losing the game 4-3 against Southampton in the Premier League. Controlled the ball after a cross came in with his chest, made a run into the box and unleashed one of his trademark tenable strikes to ensure he got a goal for his team Leicester in the Championship. But like I said, Southampton managed to beat his team Leicester, who are now relegated. So the relegation battles now, after they ended up going some 4 points as it stands now, ahead of the relegation battles in the English Championship for Fatau Ichahaku. 8 goals for him in the English Championship. Let's now go on to some women's football news now. In Ghana's U20 female squad, the Black Princesses have left Ghana, Accra for South Africa. That's this for the quarter encounter between Ghana and SA. That's will be played this weekend in Mbombela in South Africa this weekend. The team left Kotoka Airport last night en route to South Africa for this crucial second encounter as they currently are drawing or drift 2-2 with Africans from the first leg played here at the Accra Sports Stadium. The team will have to ensure they get a result good enough to see them qualify for the coming World Cup that will be held in Poland later on this year. That's for the FIFA U20 Female or Women's World Cup. So the Premier League and Chelsea made a chance to move into the top four in the EPL after throwing away a 2-goal lead against Leeds at Stamford Bridge. The hosts had a 2-goal cushion thanks to goals either side of the first half from João Pedro and Cole Palmer. But they threw it away when Moses Caicedo brought down Jayden Bogle to allow Lucas Nemecha to convert from the spot. The Colorado came via calamitous defending from Joshua Champong, Mbalogusto and Roberto Sanchez, failing to clear a ball over the top, allowing Noah Okafor to poke home an equalizer. Here's Chelsea's coach Liam Rossonnet speaking after the draw for Chelsea against Leeds.
We're in complete control of the game.
Have today confirmed the sacking of their coach Thomas Frank. With the statement released today by the club, has taken the decision to make change in the men's head coach position, and Thomas Frank will leave today. Thomas was appointed in June of last year, and we have been determined to give him the time and support needed to build for the future together. However, results of performances have led to the board to conclude that a change at this time in the season is necessary. Hence, the decision to part company with Thomas Frank as the coach for Tottenham. So he's been sacked after just 8 months in charge of Hotspur. Tottenham's new man or the new coach, Thomas Frank. Saka Kudus will be getting a new coach in the coming days. Well, Kudus needs to look forward to a new coach joining him at Tottenham. Let's end it with some news from United. Of course, last night pulled up a late equalizer from Benjamin Sesko to ensure they got a point in a game against West Ham at the Olympic Stadium in London. They went down from a Thomas Tuchel goal, but they bounced back later in the game to get an equalizer through Benjamin Sesko, who pulled a stunning equalizer after a cross came in from Brian Mbeumo to make it 1-1 late on in the game between West Ham and United. And of course, after the game, the manager, Michael Carrick, had this to say about the game.
Okay, I think we're a bit disappointed.
Protected. She made this remarks at the unveiling of entrepreneur and founder of the Shea Butter Museum, Mohammed Montia, as Ghana's culture ambassador for Shea Butter.
Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts officially unveiled entrepreneur and founder of the Shea Butter Museum, Mohammed Montia, as Ghana's culture ambassador for Shea Butter. Speaking at the ceremony, the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Honorable Ablajifa Gomashi, described culture as foundational, not ornamental. She stressed that products such as Shea Butter embody generational wisdom, sustainability and economic empowerment for rural communities. The minister emphasized that strategic investment in culture drives tourism, fashion, agriculture, and youth employment, positioning Ghana confidently on the global stage. Using examples such as fugu and kente, she highlighted how Ghanaian textiles and traditions have become global symbols of pride and prosperity when intentionally promoted and protected.
Our culture is not ornamental, it is foundational. It is not a side conversation in our national development. It is central to who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. I'm therefore deeply honored to preside over the appointment of Ms. Mohammed Montia as Culture Ambassador for Ghana Shea Butter by the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. Shea Butter, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is not merely a cosmetic product. It is culture in practice. It is wisdom of generations of women, the economy of rural community, and a powerful story of sustainability, wellness, as well as African ingenuity. Culture is one of Ghana's strongest yet most underfunded assets. Countries that command respect, curiosity, and economic advantage are those that have intentionally invested in their culture.
In her acceptance speech, Mohammed Montia reflected on her journey from grassroots entrepreneurship to international recognition. She noted that global demand for Ghanaian shea butter has grown significantly, creating the need for stronger partnership and increased investment to meet market demand while supporting women producers across northern Ghana.
I do not see this merely as a title. I see it as a responsibility to the women who guard the shea tree, the villages that hold our knowledge, and to the future generations that are going to inherit what we leave for them. Recently, many of you saw our young brother, Aisho Speed, visit the Shea Butter Museum. That moment was not just viral, it was symbolic. It showed the world that the power, beauty and dignity of African tradition. Shea butter and black soap alone can bring us a lot of jobs. The world consumes this in high numbers. To be honest, we are overwhelmed. We are getting calls from all around the world. Our spa is booked. We cannot even serve the people coming. So we are asking for partners. We are asking for support.
The appointment underscores Ghana's renewed commitment to positioning culture not only as a symbol of identity, but also as a thriving industry, told boldly through ambassadors who embody the heritage they promote.
The United States is set to deploy about 200 troops to Nigeria to help train its military in the fight against Islamist militant groups. The move follows recent U.S. airstrikes ordered by President Donald Trump targeting Islamic State positions in the country. U.S. officials say the additional forces will support a small American team already working with Nigerian troops on counter-terrorism efforts. The country has faced a persistent threat from Boko Haram and the Islamic State West Africa province, whose attacks on military convoys and civilians have escalated in recent months. The Northwest continues to be a hotspot in Nigeria's 17-year struggle against Islamist insurgency. Nigeria's population exceeds 230 million, with Christians concentrated mainly in the south and Muslims predominantly in the north, reflecting the nation's diverse religious landscape. And that's it for the bulletin. I am Lily Mohammed. On behalf of the entire team led by Obed King Aglu, we say thank you very much for watching. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. And for more news updates, kindly log on to starfm.com.gh. Good